Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Luxor. Let's get into it. So, how are all of you guys doing today? You guys doing good? Hope so. Hope you guys are happy. Hope you guys are healthy. Hope everyone's having a great day today. And that there's good vibes all around. So a couple days ago, it was a Monday at Burrito Horn, and it was me, Mr. Cheez-It, and a new guy. Now this new guy, I've been training him for about a little less than a week. He's gotten good, but I wouldn't say he's fully trained yet, so I still kind of keep an eye and an ear on him. And I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what higher power that we pissed off, but it was the worst Monday that I have ever worked. So it was just Mr. Cheez-It making the food. Now, I actually do know a little tiddlywink about the food, but I just do service, basically. And I would have been helping him, but I had to keep an eye on the new guy. Because like I said, he's gotten really good, but he's not 100% yet. And honestly, even if he was 100%, just now, when I missed that power-up, that hurt my soul. Anyway, so even if someone is 100%, when you get that many cars in a row, you really want 2 people on service. It really just helps the whole flow. So, we just get absolutely steamrolled, slaughtered, destroyed, you name it, we got it. And we actually ended up having to lock the inside because large groups of mostly kids were coming in there. And eventually we just had to lock it because we just didn't have the staff for it. And also, you gotta love this, a lot of cars that come in. Can I do 3 separate orders? Can I do 4 separate orders? Now, normally you can't do more than 2 in the drive-thru because it takes too long, but since the door was locked, obviously we did it. And Mr. Cheez-It is just getting progressively more angry. And the whole time he's making food, he's actually on the phone with his wife, Mrs. Cheez-It. Now, it's kind of funny, he's done this before, but whenever he's having a bad day, he'll call up his wife. Like, man, you know, this sucks. I want to go home. I don't want to do this no more. And I kind of do that with my dad. When I get home from work, we'll be talking. I'll tell him about all the stuff that happens at work. So anyway, then a customer calls. Now, I can't hear the phone calls because it's inside of his headset. So maybe there's a problem with his order, or maybe he had a complaint or something happened. And he absolutely loses it and just chews out this customer over the phone. He's like, well, it's just me making food tonight. Nobody wants to work at Taco Bell anymore. He's like, yeah, no one wants to work here anymore. You know, this, that, you know, it's just us. The whole town's hungry. You know, we're hiring. If you want to come work, if you want to do it yourself, better. And then he just hung up. Because really, you get a response like that, like, what else are you going to do? You're not going to win. He does have a point, though. We do have trouble getting some new people. Now, not just at our store, but I do hear that a lot, like, nobody wants to work anymore. I feel like that's kind of true. The work ethic has dropped a little bit, but also you gotta raise those prices. Yes, it's gonna make other stuff go up too, but you know, you gotta put a worm on that hook. You gotta incentivize new workers. In fact, McDonald's, they're going up to like 17 an hour because they're opening, I think it's like 900 new stores across the country. Which, by the way, I love McDonald's as much as the next guy. Do we really need more McDonald's, 900 more. Like, come on. There's about 3 McDonald's in my area within a 10-15 minute radius. 3. We don't need more. You know what would be cool? A White Castle, because the closest White Castle by me is like 30 minutes way in another town. Now, about a year ago, we did get a Dairy Queen, which was nice, because that was far away, too. So, Burger King and White Castle, those are the ones I gotta drive far away for. So, if we could just get those 2, we'd be set. Now, I know this is kind of late, but I've been holding on to this story, and I think I'm gonna tell it now. So, we had a 4th of July party at my grandparents' house. Now, my grandparents, on my mother's side, are in their 70s. And I love them. They're great folks. My step-grandma is a great cook. And I'm very close to my grandpa, because I spent a lot of time with him as a kid when I was younger. So I have a very good relationship with them. Now, 99% of it is my grandma. And one thing you gotta know about her is she's 70 and she's also in a wheelchair. But she thinks she's young. She thinks she's 45. And what I mean by that is, like, she tries to plan out all these things, but she and my grandpa can't do them physically, so they're always calling us to do it. For example, my grandma likes to have this garden. She's got a garden in her backyard, and every year she just keeps expanding it. Every summer she orders more mulch, more plants, you know, just making it bigger and bigger. But they're elderly, so they can't really tend to it. So especially in the summer, like 3-4 times a week, we're over there pulling weeds and doing yard work and stuff. Now obviously, my dad's not going to say anything, but someone's got to be like, guys, you're 70 now. It's the universe trying to tell you that you need to move on. Like, maybe this isn't working. Yeah, they always try to bite off more than they can chew, and then they can't handle it, and then I feel bad. So most recently, we had a barbecue / 4th of July party over there. And the day before, we were setting up, and I'm thinking, okay, it's not going to be that bad, we're gonna... Now, they have a husky named Angel. It's okay, maybe scoop some poop, pull some weeds, you know, get the yard all nice. Which was part of it, which I was expecting. But then, my grandma's like, oh, in the shed, we got some tents to put up. We got to their house at 1 in the afternoon, and we did not leave until after 10 o'clock at night. Because there were at least 7, there might have been more, of these tents, and these tents were not easy to put up. So first, you gotta get it out of the bag. And then you gotta pull on it, and it's a 2-person job, really. So each person grabs a corner, and then you pull like it comes apart and it expands. Now the hard part is these legs. It kind of looks like Swiss cheese, but these legs got the holes in the sides of them. And you gotta push this little metal knob into the hole, and then pull the whole leg itself so that the tent will stand up. Sounds straightforward, but if you don't do it right, then the whole tent gets wobbly and it could fall over. So we're messing with these tents, and there's a part on the top where you have to lock it to keep the tent upright. But each one was different. Some of them had a button, some of them you just had to push really hard, some of them you had to twist. So we spent a good chunk of time trying to figure out just how it worked. So we get that done, but then you gotta put the tarp over it. So we get this tarp and we're trying to put it over the tent. But these tents are about 2 feet taller than we are. So that's no small task. So we're messing around with these tarps, we finally get it. And there's these little patches of Velcro that you gotta Velcro the corners of. Now the thing about this Velcro is it's on the inside of the tarp. So you can't really see it when it's all set up. So you kinda gotta guess and check where the tarp is. Now a couple of the manufacturers must have known this, because they're like little squares that tell you where the Velcro is, but for the most part, there was no square. So you just kind of had to feel around for it, fumble around, and then put the Velcro on. Now that took like 3 hours to get all those tents. So just the two of us putting tents up for hours. And then comes the next thing. So obviously we need ice, because we have lots of drinks, lots of soda, lots of water, and lots of beer. So obviously you need ice. Now, the good news is there's a gas station about 5 minutes from their house. The bad news is they don't want to go to that gas station. So they are Costco members, and they wanted us to go to Costco because they wanted to save $3 on ice. So my grandpa gives us his Costco card and his ID. So, instead of driving 5 minutes to the gas station, we go about 25-30 minutes to Costco. Again, $3 discount. Now keep in mind, it's the day before the 4th. So even just arriving at the parking lot, we can see that this place is packed like a can of sardines. And we're just like, oh, great, lovely. The second we get in the parking lot, it's all the way backed up. So this isn't even getting in the building yet. There's some jackass blocking the roadway because he's trying to back out, but he's not letting anybody else out. So we're all just at this standstill, waiting for this guy to leave, and he's taking his sweet time. And then finally he leaves, and the car behind us just completely cuts us. Like, passes where he shouldn't have passed and just cut in front of us. So that was real cool. And then we're kind of driving all around, because you can only park at certain places in Costco if you're not a member. So like there's members only, visitors, you know, customer. Like there's just so many sections of the parking lot. So eventually we find a spot. We get inside. And it looks like Black Friday. There's people everywhere. And we don't shop at Costco, we are Aldi people. So we don't even know where to start looking for this ice. Now, my grandpa did give some names. He said to either ask for Madison or Emily, and they'll help us with this ice quest. So we gotta push our way through all these people. Now the carts at Costco, these are like big dolly carts almost. So my dad's pushing this ginormous cart through the crowd. And everybody's just chilling like they're having a party of their own in Costco. So we finally get to like this auto tire section and we find Madison. And we tell her like, hey, you know where the ice is? And she's like, oh, ice, right there. Yeah, in the tire section, about 10 feet away, was this big refrigerator of ice bags. You know, when I think cars, you know, tires, motor oil, car parts, I think ice. I want some good old frozen water chunks when I'm buying parts for my car. But, like I've said, I've never really been in Costco, so, you know, maybe that's normal. So we're lugging like 10 of these ice. We get them, we pay for them. Guy at the exit checks our receipt, and then we get the heck out of there. And we're about halfway back, and our grandpa calls us. And the second I saw him calling on the screen, I already knew what he was going to ask. So I was driving, so my dad picks up, and sure enough, he's like, "Hey, did you guys find the Costco yet?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're on our way back." I was like, "Oh, when are you guys coming back with the ice?" So yeah, sent us an hour out of the way, and then wondered where we were. Now, there was dinner, so thankfully there was that. And then... Now, this was the easiest part. The tents were the hardest part. Then we were setting up all the tables and chairs, which were all those big plastic fold-up like you see at carnivals. So that was the day before. Then the day of the party, we get there at a little after noon. And everybody shows up. Now, get this. So, my grandma wanted the party to start at 1. But she wasn't planning on serving food until 5. Now, her thought process was everyone was going to mingle for 4 hours and then eat. Now, mingling's all fine and good, but I'm coming to your cookout to eat your cooked food, not to shoot the breeze with the neighbor. You better give me some burgers. Now, to her credit, there was eventually some burgers. We'll get to that later. So my grandma is sitting there with a megaphone, and she's like, "Okay, we're gonna set this up now. Everybody start chilling, and then in 2 hours we're gonna set this up." Yeah, literally a megaphone. Now, this part I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying what happened. We actually started with dessert. We got some ice cream to start with. Which, hey, I am all for dessert first. Now, the food was actually all done before she wanted to eat, but she still wanted to wait. Now, I don't know if Karen's the right word. I think that's too strong of a word. But the way my grandma is, like, everything's got to turn out exactly how she envisions it, or the whole thing's wrong. Like, some people were setting up the food. My grandpa and a couple of his neighbors and friends were setting up food on the tables, and Grandma comes out, and she goes, "What the hell is this? Is this the way I would set it up? Hell no, go change it." So she had all the ice in the direct sunlight. We had these little, they look like kiddie pools, these little blow-up plastic trays for condiments and ingredients to go in. And the ice in the direct sun. And a few hours into the party, you'll never guess what happened. There was water, so it really did become a swimming pool. So as everyone saw it coming, the ice melted in the 90-degree heat. She's like, "Oh, ice melted, I wonder how that happened." Like, she was surprised that science exists. And it's not just the barbecue. There was a lot of instances like that where she likes to buy a lot of lawn ornaments and stuff, and we'll be helping her set it up, and it's got to be like exactly how she wants it. So then we started preparing some hot dogs and some bratwurst. Now, as you all know, I don't like hot dogs, I don't like brats. So this one did not affect me, but instead of putting them on the grill, she wanted to boil the brats. Yes, boiled brats. So all the flavor and juice that's in there, you're just gonna take it out. Now, Dad was a rebel. He still grilled some of the brats, and Grandpa saw him do it, and he just blurts out in front of everybody, Hey, this guy right here is gonna have some dry, nasty brats. So yeah, just in front of the whole thing. But yeah, like I said, I don't normally eat them, but I have never, ever heard of boiling brats. Now, some people actually do boil them in beer for like a minute or two, and then they throw them on the grill to get that beer flavor. But just as the main method of cooking, that's unheard of. Also, quick side tangent. One year, my grandma for Christmas, she put chocolate milk in the microwave and called it hot chocolate. Now, I will say, it wasn't bad, but I think we all would have preferred some hot chocolate. And then finally, all the food's out. She gets all the burgers out. But I guess it wasn't time to eat. And I think it was actually my grandpa that told me and a couple other people, oh, the food's ready, it's time to eat. But I guess it wasn't time to eat, because everyone starts grabbing their plate, and my grandma comes out, and she got so offended. She was like, why is everybody eating? And I was like, I got told it was time. And at this point, now no one really says anything, but the crowd's kind of starting to turn, like, hey, someone needs to talk to Grandma and tell her, like, it's not set up that way. Oh, and get this. She did not serve any cheese with the burgers, which some people like hamburgers, but I am on Team Cheeseburger. So I snuck into the house and they had some Kraft singles in the fridge, and I just took a couple of those. Now, shortly after the party ended, I actually had to leave to go to work. So thankfully I didn't have to put any of that away. Well, that's half true. The following day, we had to put the tents back away and get rid of all the tables. But the majority of the cleanup I got out of. Now, I know I'm roasting my grandma in this story, but, you know, that's one thing about family. You gotta accept each other for your flaws. Like, yeah, she's a bit of a clean freak, but we love her all the same. Now, I will say, especially in the fall time, when it's chili season, she makes some really good chili. Which is very crafty as well. There's a whole crafting area in the basement where it's... Now, she likes to buy concrete from this one store, and then she'll carve, like, statues and then spray paint them. Or I don't think she carves them, but she'll buy all these stone concrete statues and then paint them all different colors and display them on the lawn. And when she's not planning stuff and trying to buy Costco ice, she is fairly sweet. Like, me and her talk a lot about my life and her life and, you know, life in general. You know what I'm trying to say. It's just, whenever she tries to plan something like this, she gets, like, overwhelmed, stressed out, and plus, being in charge kind of goes to her head. And then we get situations like what I just described. And I kind of feel bad for Grandpa, because I think it's really my grandma that's behind most of the decision planning. Like, Grandpa's just kind of along for the ride. Because I don't think he would initiate any of that. Now, we don't do it every year, but once every few years, we cross the border and we go to Indiana. And there's this place called Crazy Kaplan's. And they got more than just fireworks. They got, like, crazy stuff. They got some spinny, glowy fireworks. One year they had these things called, like, crazy bats or something. It would spin on the ground, glow pretty colors, and then it would take off in the sky. like they're like a secret lab for experimental new fireworks. And the story I remember the most, we bought this penguin from Crazy Kaplan's, and on the penguin, like on the instructions, it said when the fuse is lit, it will emit colorful showers. So, you know, like a color fountain, it'll have colored sparks. It'll be all pretty. So we get this penguin, and we put it on the driveway, and we light the fuse, we run away. And the fuse burns up, and we're waiting for these color sparks. And this penguin just straight up explodes. Now, I know what you're thinking, it's a firework, it's supposed to explode. This thing just blew up like a grenade. But just the body blew up, the head did not blow up. The body blew up in this big explosion, and it was just the head left. And then about 10 seconds later, the head exploded. So it was a double grenade. So just bits of penguin are flying everywhere. And we're like, whoa, what the F? What the flux capacitor just happened? Now, obviously, we're all a good distance away, nobody was hurt, but looking back, it's really funny. I'm not gonna lie, that stage kicked my ass a little bit. I died a few times. Hard mode's finally getting hard. And we're actually almost done. We're about to be moving to insane difficulty. Alright, enough rambling. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And everybody, just do me a little favor. Have yourselves a great day.